Hello, and welcome to probably the most enjoyable snapshot review for Minecraft 1.21, and this snapshot will actually be heavily focused on 1.21. I don't think there's many changes for the next mini update for 1.20.3, and so in this snapshot 23W45A, we get to take a look at the trial chamber, the breeze mob, and also a new item called the trial key. I will say that the trial key does not have any use at the moment, and in fact, let me just grab one real quick so that I can't spell, so that you can see what it looks like. That right there is the trial key, and right now it doesn't have a use. It's just kind of there. You get it from completing some of the spawner loot stuff. Also, it's not supposed to be nighttime. Okay, so you get the trial key from completing one of the waves of the trial spawner, which I think we've talked about a little bit, but the trial spawner. Okay, so I'm really excited if you couldn't tell. So the trial spawner is a new monster spawner that will give you item rewards, so it'll just drop the item on top of the block. That's basically what's going to happen with the trial spawners in the actual trial chamber. So basically, you finish fighting all of the mobs, and then you can collect whatever's floating here. And there's a decent amount of items that you can get. One of them being one of these keys. You can get like food. You could. There's a whole lot that you can actually get, and also you might notice something that's a little bit different with this trial spawner that you would know that the regular spawner used to not do as well, and you'll see that with this monster spawner too. You'll see that you can actually see through the little bars here to the other side where the actual texture should exist, because it's see-through. And so I think this one will be updated in 1.20.3, but I'm not sure if that is actually the case. Alright, so this little handy guy here has a lot of interesting features. So the first feature is that it spawns mobs according to the amount of players nearby, and once it notices a certain amount of players, it will just go with that amount. So if it notices 5 people here, so for example, if all 4 of these grass pillars here were other players, it would count 5 players, and if, let's say they all left, I would have to deal with the amount of 5 players worth of mobs from this guy, which I think is okay. I don't think that's a huge problem. And also, this trial spawner only spawns a limited number that's proportional to the current challenge level. So it'll spawn a certain amount of mobs, and then once all of them are defeated, then it goes on cooldown and gives you the rewards. Once the rewards have been ejected, the cooldown is 30 minutes until it can spawn mobs again. So it's quite a while actually, and it also will spawn the mobs regardless of light level, unlike regular mob spawning. And also mobs are persistent, basically saying that if I were to fly all the way over there, this chicken wouldn't be here. But if I had spawned mobs at one of these trial spawners, there would still be those trial spawner spawned mobs. That's kind of a mouthful to say. Alright, And then in creative mode, of course, you can also add a spawn egg. So if I were to come over here, middle click the chicken, I get the chicken spawn egg. I can put it in here. You'll also see that there's a texture change when there's some new like when it's ready to spawn things, basically. So you'll see that it went from blue texture to like the gray blue texture to all orange textures. I don't know why it's taking so long for this chicken to actually get ready to spawn stuff. It should just work, I thought. But this is supposed to work kind of like a normal spawner, where you put a spawn egg in and then it just and then it'll do the normal trial spawner thing. Of course they can't be crafted in survival. Why would they, honestly? They're very slow to mine, actually. That's something important. So if I grab myself a netherite pick and enchant it with efficiency 5. Alright, so it's enchanted with efficiency 5, right? Oh, I forgot. I needed to be in survival. Right, so that's important to note, is that you have to be in survival for it to actually spawn the mobs. So you have to be in survival. You can't be in spectator or creative mode. I actually forgot about that, but this reminded me of it. I think this should still give me rewards, maybe? Hey, yeah, and that's the texture for when it's about to drop some rewards, and it also looks like it's a one-time use if you put a spawn egg in it, so that's actually interesting. Alright, so I'm going to start trying to mine this because, well, maybe I want to break it, and you'll see very quickly how this is not actually a very good way to do things, because currently I have an efficiency 5 netherite pick, the fastest pickaxe there is, and it's gonna take a really long time for me to actually break this, and you can see some cracks starting to appear, but to save myself some time and to basically spare you the trouble, I'm not going to break it. Just know that it's gonna take a really long time to actually break it. So I would suggest not trying to break it, because it will take like 3 minutes, even with your efficiency 5 netherite pickaxe. So yeah, have fun. Alright. Next up we have the breeze, which is this guy here, and this is basically the new mob that will spawn from some of the trial spawners that we talked about earlier, and specific ones, and this is his little texture here. If I were to show the hitbox, I'll show you the hitbox just so that you can see. You can actually hit him from where he's standing there to about the top of his head there, and I think the hitbox itself is a little bit smaller than the head, but I don't think that really matters that much. And of course, he knocks you back. He's the breeze. He's got to have some sort of like knockback ability. So if I switch to survival mode, you'll see I get knocked back just a little bit as he keeps trying to hit me. I don't know what he's doing, but he is knocking me back. And if I go into creative mode and back into survival and try to get hit by one of these things, I actually take a little bit of damage. It actually didn't seem to damage me too much. So it seems that if he hits me well enough, it'll launch me into the air, which will actually which will cause me to take more damage. See, like that. That's a really good one. So that made me lose a bunch of hearts from that. Okay. Oops, I did not mean to go into spectator. Alright, so, this guy. He's quite a fun little guy, and he also, with his attacks, will activate redstone, so I'm gonna set him up in this little chamber here. So, if I put one in there, grab myself some blocks. Okay, so if I grab myself a lever, a trapdoor here, and we'll just have two there, and then this door, and then we switch to survival mode, you'll see that all of the you'll see that when his air blast hits the redstone components or hits near them, that they actually activate. So that's quite fun to do. Okay, I need to switch back into creative mode because I'm going to die. So that's basically all of the breeze mob. Everything that's not iron, between the doors and trapdoors, will be flipped, and buttons will be pressed, levers, bells rung and swung, lit candles will be extinguished, etc. Like, basically all redstone stuff, plus the extra wind of the candles, because, you know, he has a wind attack. Why not just allow him to blow out the candles? I mean, that's quite fun, actually. Alright, now for the actual big thing, the trial chambers, which also, soon after this video is released, about 6 p.m. my time, which is Mountain Standard, I will be streaming going through one of these trial chambers. So let's check it out a little bit, and then well, you'll get to interact with me live while I go through it. Okay, so you will see that as I'm flying in spectator with all of these caves around, this is literally right below where I was recording the rest of the video, you'll see the trial chamber, and you'll also see a bunch of the tough bricks block, signifying that there is actually a trial chamber, which is actually really cool, especially when you're just mining around, and then you find some of this tough bricks, and you'll be like, oh, or you'll either probably be excited or kind of annoyed. Alright, so there's a lot of interesting details. First, it spawns in the deep slate layer. I know it peaks up above the deep slate layer over here, but I think it's like the generated part, like the main piece that's generated first, is spawned down here, and then it spawns everything else. There's a lot of rooms here, like a lot. This one is one of them. This is a very tiny room, it looks like, that seems to be a dead end. That's a little bit weird. There's a trapdoor here that leads you into this room. It's huge. And then here you'll actually see one of the auto-spawning spawners, and you'll see that it has cobwebs and stone, making it a spider. So this is one of the small melee categories. There's 3 categories of the trial spawners, and this is one of them, with spiders, cave spiders, baby zombie, and I think there's one other silverfish you can actually find as well. This one just happens to be spider. I don't remember exactly all the block combinations, but there are a lot. This one I believe is a husk that would spawn here, because it's got the sandstone there, and the husk is part of the just regular melee, along with the zombie and the slime. And there's a whole lot. The pots you can break, and they have loot in them. The barrels have loot. The chests have loot. Like, everything has loot, basically. Going through, you'll see that there's multiple paths here. This room here has a few beds plus another thing with loot. This, I think, is a room with a breeze. Yes, it is. You can tell by the chiseled tuff, because it actually does look kind of like a spiral, like the wind, which actually that's kind of brilliant. I don't know why I didn't think about that in the last, or in the one in that other snapshot review where all of these tuff and copper blocks were introduced. And then also over here you'll see bone blocks. That's for the skeleton. Usually if there's like poison of some kind, like poison arrows or like the cave spiders, then there's going to be mushrooms as well as whatever the block is, I think. Just to signify that it's poison. There are poison arrow skeletons too that you can find, so beware of that. And this room also has lots of different things that are interactable with redstone, as you can see. So that's basically everything in this room, and I forgot to mention that the skeleton is part of the third category, which is the ranged, which also includes skeleton with poison tipped arrows, as I mentioned earlier, and strays. You can actually find strays in this in one of these trial chambers. And this is just another breeze fight room, which is actually got a lot of these dispenser buttons, and I'm not going to show off too much of what those do because I, again, will be streaming later today going through this exact trial chamber just so that you guys can interact with me and watch me probably struggle going through a trial chamber. Okay, and I think that is basically it. I'm not seeing any other entity spawning spawners that I have not gone over yet. But really, you're just gonna want to make sure you know what's going to spawn just by looking at the blocks right around these copper blocks, the new copper blocks there. And that, I believe, is about it. So check the link in the description for the link to the stream if you want to check it out. Oops, I will fix that very quickly here. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you come check out my stream, and I will see you all next time. Bye!